It's that time. Spring football is upon us, and one of the biggest storylines has been the Deion Primetime Sanders effect. Coach Prime now over at Colorado. Just to give y'all a little perspective.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
Last year it was reported Colorado gave away tickets for free to the spring game, and they brought in less than 2,000 people. This year they sold them for $10, and they brought in 45,000. Yes, a packed house, sold out. The Deion effect. I'm talking about they probably had more people, more fans at this spring game than they did at their homecoming last year. Shedeur Sanders looks ready to be one of the premier passers in the Pac-12. Those 2 years of development at Jackson State has helped him ease into this transition into the Power 5. Sanders has complete control of this offense. He looks extremely poised in the pocket, and he's been deadly accurate. Yesterday, he went 16 of 19 for 234 yards through the air and 2 touchdowns. He also ran for another touchdown as well, showing the dual threat ability. His mentor is Tom Brady. I love his approach to the game. He's so locked in and just knows it's deeper than just fundamentals and athletic ability. You really got to study the game. And of course, one of those touchdowns went to two-way star Travis Hunter, one of the most explosive athletes in the FBS. Hunter, simple and plain, is him. He's reportedly been taking majority of the snaps at wide receiver and took some of his first snaps of the spring on defense in the spring game. Coach Prime says Hunter could go top 5 in the draft at receiver or DB. And to be honest, I wouldn't bet against them. There are a lot of transfers coming in, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and all the players that are on the roster weren't available. Some key pieces were out, especially at the skills positions, but they're not done. Coach Prime says they may have some more transfers on the way. They're obviously building something special. They've got excitement at an all-time high right now since probably the 90s around Colorado football. The students, the faculty, the people of Boulder are extremely excited about what's going on. It's been a complete culture flip, and you can see it early. The same thing that happened at Jackson State. Now, looking at Colorado's schedule, they could go into that Colorado State game, a rivalry game. They could go into that game in week 3. They could very well go into that 2-0. They got a tough Oregon squad on the road. But USC at home, them 2 back-to-back weeks is tough, but having USC at home is major. Because if they can get a win there, that will absolutely put the nation on notice. And USC was probably the hottest storyline of last year, so we're keeping it in the Pac-12. I absolutely think it's plausible for them to win anywhere between 7 to 10 games this year. Now, 10 is on the brighter side, on the more optimistic side, but I think that they're good for 7 wins this year, which would be 5 or 6 more than they got last year. So, I think, depending on, who else, this roster is still being filled out, but you've got Shedeur Sanders, you've got a field general, you've got a captain, you've got very talented skill pieces around him as well, especially at the receiver and running back position. And I think they have a pretty solid offensive line as well. Now, it will be key to see if they can control the trenches and continue to build up that defense, because there's a lot of transfers that are still figuring out how to play with each other and still learning the system. But watch out, man. The spring game showed a lot. I'm excited to see Shedeur Sanders, man. I mean, we could be talking about a potential Heisman hopeful this season. The way he looked yesterday, I mean, he just looks like he's supposed to, like a veteran. And he's ready to lead this team, man. So, buff to the moon, maybe. And that just shows you the Deion effect. ESPN's out there. The game's nationally televised. Like, it's a whole lot going on when Deion is involved. But he's made it clear he is not coming to win later. He wants to win now. And it'll be interesting to see the rest, man. A lot of talented teams. The Pac-12 will be a tough conference this year, but Colorado will be one of those teams that is fun to watch, I guarantee. And it will be all eyes on them when they take the field this fall. For all the latest and the greatest, make sure to hit that subscribe button. This has been Live with Brandon Blakeney. I am your host, Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. You did?